Yes, yes. And we are back again with another episode of the Great Start Podcast. My name is Brian Kibet, aka your local Max Verstappen fan.
And my name is Ken, aka Ferrari Fanatic.
Hey, and today, by the way, guys, as you can see, I thought the name was written at the back here. We are at the amazing SemaBOX. It's located at Keystone Park along Riverside Drive. So if you're intending to start a podcast, if you're intending to do anything audio or video cast related, or even just shoot a video, show up, pull up, man. This place is awesome. They have amazing sets, amazing setups here. I think they can get the job done. If they can get the job done for us, they can get the job done for you. So, yeah, we are back again, man, after a crazy, crazy weekend in Monaco.
Not that crazy, in my opinion. I mean, it had its ups and downs, but it was pretty average.
Average,
Average.
so you see. We skipped, by the way, the Imola Grand Prix because there were floods in the Imola Romagna region in Italy. So our hearts go out to actually the people who live in that area or our listeners from Italy. But we still had the grand people actually contribute. We had Ferrari contribute €1 million. We had F1 as the general organization contribute €1 million to the region. So it's good. It's actually really good that they care. They put their efforts and are looking towards hopefully having another Grand Prix next year, just to, cool down the economic instability that they had this year. But Monaco Grand Prix, we had a fire qualifying session. I think one of the best qualifying sessions that we've had, as compared to almost all the qualifyings that we've had this year, or even previously. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, definitely. You'd think that the skill has gotten better. We're seeing faster speeds on that track. It's not typically a track where you'd see high speeds, but I mean, I was
No,
impressed.
it was eventful. It was properly eventful. From seeing people who you're not used to seeing on the podium, actually not even the podium, on the starting line, the starting grid. We saw Ocon get it. After Ocon, we saw Alonso get it. You can't even say that man is 41 years old, man. I don't know about you, but it doesn't look 41. A 41-year-old guy doing that?
That's a legend.
Hey,
That's a
bana.
legend.
I don't know whether we'll see Lewis Hamilton doing that, though.
I think Lewis has the
Lewis
capability
is
to do
38
that.
now, right?
Exactly.
Will he reach 41, really?
At the moment, he is the number one Mercedes driver. You'd think that by now Russell has passed, but
No, but give Russell time. Give the boy time.
doesn't work like that. Like in
Hey.
your case, Verstappen came and just took over. You'd find
But
these
how
young.
long did it take him to win his first championship? He won it in 2021. He came into Red Bull in 2017. That's a clean 4 years. 4 years of development. 4 years of struggling against, the likes of Hamilton, the likes of Vettel in Ferrari at that time. So it takes time. I don't know. Probably he's a project kid for Mercedes-Benz. So give it time. We'll see how it goes. And if you want to watch more of our content, by the way, we have an Instagram at the Great Start Podcast. We have a TikTok at the Great Start Podcast. We have a Twitter at the Great Start Pod. So check us out. We have a lot of content out there for you. I know many of you have been wondering, oh gosh, I want to learn Formula One. There's a lot of content out there, but probably I don't relate to it, or you're trying to look for the African touch to Formula One or motorsports racing in general. Check out our page. We got you there. We got you. That's why we're here. So, if I'm to move on swiftly, we had new faces on the podium. We had mans like Esteban Ocon, Esti Bestie,
That
was in
is
the podium, baby.
that is my driver of the weekend. What he did, spectacular. Props to him. Props to him.
No, I think the car suited the track quite well. Because if you noticed, all these other times, we have not had a situation where that car has been able to perform as well as it did this Monaco. Same thing with the Benzes. So I don't know about the Benzes, whether it was because of the upgrades that they brought or whether the car suited the track a little bit more. There's a little bit of disparity there, but I think we'll get to see more of it in the Spanish Grand Prix happening this weekend. But the car suited. You saw even where Gasly was. Even in the he was doing really well. He got to Q3 in the qualifying sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean the guy is doing amazing, and the car kind of
The car
suits
suits them.
the truck.
But the driver also has to get their flowers.
Yeah.
Because that track is not easy.
But I also think, if you think about it, on the race in Monaco is won on Saturday. The race in Monaco is won on Saturday, if so I'm to think about it. Because on that track, you can't overtake. So Sunday is out. We even notice in the Grand Prix on Sunday, we only had like maximum 7 overtakes. The whole 2 hours, 7 overtakes. You know? But then Esteban Ocon got to qualify P3, which already put him at the front of the track. Look at how much Perez struggled from the back. You know, so the fact that he was able to qualify well, I think solidified or cemented his chances of being in the podium on Sunday rather. So
You can't as well also forget
yeah,
the efforts of Alpine, because strategically they hit the nail on the head. Because obviously in such a track, you'd find that either in qualifying sessions, the first people to get out and the last people to finish have the best chances of getting the highest or the fastest times. And Ocon was, I think, if not the last, the second or third last to do that lap. That's why it was so surprising when he just shot to P3, because obviously the track has less traffic and people are in the pits. So strategically, Alpine
makes
also
sense.
have to be given the flowers.
Yeah, very true.
They
very
hit
true.
it well.
Yeah. Gosh, and if you think how angry their CEO was a couple of weeks ago, you know, when he was having troubles with the way they were performing in Miami, the way they performed in Australia, both of them DNFing on the last lap. Crazy, man. So big up Alpine, big up ST Bestie. Gasly, I also saw some news today morning that he was a little bit mad that he wasn't able to get to the podium. But, I mean,
It's Monaco, where you qualify most likely is where you're going to finish.
yeah, man. And he finished above P10.
He was in the points. Yeah.
So really there wasn't much really to, to bug about. Fernando Alonso, I think, drove a masterclass this weekend. He had an amazing, amazing weekend. Actually thought initially that this Aston, from the practice after washing, hiyo imekuja.
That's that African touch
That's
he
the
was
African
talking
touch
about.
you're telling you about for motorsports, guys. So follow us, by the way. Utakuwa unasikia hizi vitu sana. Anyway, Alonso, this guy, after watching the practice sessions on Friday and then watching the qualifying on Saturday, seeing the way he performed, I actually thought Aston Martin was sandbagging on Friday. They were just not showing their pace. Because these guys were clearly, everyone thought Leclerc and Sainz, we all thought that this track would suit you guys, Ferrari.
I'm not a happy person, by the way. Being a fan of Ferrari as a member of the Tifosi, I am not happy.
Kuna mtu hii Nairobi anaitwa Bien Alimba. Inauma.
Tunazoea, man.
Lakini inabidi uzoe. So Alonso did you guys bad, by the way. He performed really, really well. He did amazing. And I've seen a lot of talk, and I don't know, by the way, what you think about this. I've seen a lot of talk about what if he actually, during the first pit, we understand that there was a miscommunication. For those who may not know, by the way, there was a miscommunication between Alonso and his pit crew, in that while he was approaching turn 3 to turn 5, where the rain was actually raining on Sunday, he told his pit crew that he needs to change his tires to intermediates. But once getting to the pits, I don't know, they had prepared, I think, mediums. I think there was another set of mediums that he had on. So that's what they put on his car. And that's what...
I think it's the other way around.
What?
It's Alonso who said that he wanted mediums.
Yeah.
And did not think that the rain would affect the track as much and could go on mediums.
Actually,
The
really, that's
team-
what happened the first time.
And then the team had prepared intermediates. He was to be like the third person to change to intermediates because of the beginning of the rainfall. But Alonso deducted that the rain would not affect the track according to his deductions. But that was a wrong move.
Okay, there was still some miscommunication.
There was
There was
miscommunication.
some miscommunication that happened, and he lost a lap. So the question is the $1 million question. By the way, guys, I'll put this poll on Spotify if you're listening on Spotify, or you can comment down in the comments below. Do you think that if Fernando Alonso did not lose that lap, he would have won the race?
No.
Do you think he would have won the race? if
In
he
my
didn't
opinion,
lose that?
I don't think so. Because the gap at which you say that Fernando drove pretty well, Fernando's drive was outstanding. In my opinion, it was a bit subpar.
Sabah.
Fernando this season is a title contender. I expected a much tighter competition between Fernando and Vas, especially considering Fernando starting on the front row.
Are you seeing my face? How shocked I am?
Max Verstappen completed the race with 20 seconds to spare. Yes, that might be blamed, that might be put on the fact that he lost that lap because of that miscommunication, but still, he should have maintained, he should have.
Bro. Okay, what is the gap between Alonso and Ocon? 17 seconds. So you want to tell me Alonso was doing a bad job?
It was not a bad job because Alonso is a two-time title-winning driver.
Yeah.
All
those
they
are
standards.
statistics. All
They
those are just
standards.
statistics.
Standards.
Okay, what are you going to say about Hamilton then? If you're going to talk about standards.
That's not
Let me tell
the point.
Let me tell you what I think. Alonso did not do a bad job. It's actually Verstappen's car that was really good. That's the first thing. Number two, he's trying to make a point. You cannot compare Verstappen right now, and Verstappen right now is like Alonso when he was in his Renault days and McLaren days. In his younger years, when he was absolutely burning for a win. That is the Verstappen that we know now. But Alonso, actually, if you listened to the previous interviews that were happening, he actually said that he has no problem even finishing P2. He'll try and win, but P2 is still good for him. I think he did an amazing, amazing job. The fact that he was able to open that gap to 17 seconds, even with having, with that one lap lost, it would have been crazy. Now, I've seen some simulations here and there, and he would not have won the lap. Or rather, he would not have won the race, but he would have closed that gap probably to 5 seconds. So I don't know. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Comment down below if you're listening to us on Spotify. I'll put the question down below. Give us an answer, and we'll read through your comments and see what you guys were thinking about it at that specific time. So, moving on swiftly to another team, not only just talking about the guys who are on the podium, we had Mercedes, who had their upgrades that were scheduled to be brought in Imola, being brought to Monaco. Now, we do know that Monaco is not the best place to, try and test new upgrades to the car and check out new things to the car. But still, Mercedes insisted that, if not now, when? And I felt like that's a good call. That was a good call because they scrapped away the zero side pod concept. So now I think that car actually looks a bit like a mix of the Ferrari and the Aston. I don't know. I don't know what you think. But the side pod, they're square shaped. They're not as smiley as yours are, and they're not as can I say long and boxy as Aston Martins are as well. I think it's a mix. They look like more of a mix of both. So the zero side pod concept, RIP, it's been thrown away. Now we have side pods on the car. But they have been insisting that there's been more development on the floor. Now we had that whole Circus des Soleil. I don't know if it's Sac des Soleil or Circus des Soleil in Monaco, where we had the cars being lifted by the cranes. And everyone could see them underflow of the car, which was absolutely crazy. Guys took pictures of our car. Guys took pictures of the Mercedes car was also raised, I think, in qualifying, right?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, it was raised in the qualifying. So guys also took photos of the car. Guys took photos of the Red Bull, and we had that whole thing happening. And Mercedes actually was saying that they have a new concept with the flow. So do you think it has helped them, if I'm to ask you?
I mean, it's yet to be seen. It only has been one race.
Yeah.
But according to me, Mercedes fans should be happy with the progress. They
No, but
should be
even with
optimistic for the future because they ended what? 4-5?
Mhm.
That shows progress in terms of strategy, in terms of development.
Yeah.
Fans should be optimistic for the future.
Yeah.
I think they're going on the right track, which is not what I can say about our team because it's not looking good, bro.
You're not going. It's not looking good.
It's not looking good. Hey, Sainz.
You guys are struggling, man.
Sainz was pitted quite early, just before the rain, which forced him to
Oh, yeah,
pit again
after the
when
what?
the rain started. According to our strategist, we thought we could undercut Lewis, but that turned out to be a wrong decision in the long run. It just
I told
made
you, as I told you in a previous thing, pod, the Italianness in your team will finish you guys.
it's frustrating,
It will finish you guys. As in, you're taking 2 steps forward and then like 10 behind, and then like 3 forward and then like 15 back. Like, no jokes. You guys are making rear strides more than front strides, but bado tuko na imani. But Leclerc, I don't know how long Leclerc will hold on. Already we see in the McLaren Lando being a little bit, he's not that loud. We know Lando being the loud guy he is. He's like a young chap, very knows how to outspoken, knows how to speak with more of the media and all. But now we are seeing him quite relaxed, quite quiet. We're not seeing a lot about him, and I don't know whether it can be attributed to the team's performance, where he's not feeling as confident being part of the team now that he also has a very long contract with the team. So I don't know. I don't know what works there. I don't know why he's like that. But it could be also happening to Leclerc as well, where people get tired. What will choker? People get tired. You see these things happening, and you're just like, you know what? However much I'm supposed to stay with this team for 10 years, beat them.
I mean, this
Let me
time,
just
Leclerc,
throw it in the bag and
being my
leave.
favorite driver, he has no one to blame but himself for this race particularly. It was his fault that he got that penalty at the beginning because he was to start P3. But now he had to start P6 because of that penalty.
Yeah, true.
It was his fault that he wasn't able to capitalize on overtakes, but then it's Monaco. So it's his home race, considering the fact that he has poles and 0 wins. That must be frustrating. It gets to your mental. He had a whole race suit prepared for the race, He was in white, he was looking all glamorous.
This is home ground. This is home ground, man.
Must be really frustrating. You have
Imagine
to
getting embarrassed at your home ground. Nyumbani. Crazy, man. So another thing we got to see in the Benz world, going back to that story, is Lewis outdid Russell. Now, I don't know whether it's the first time in the whole season whether that's happened, but regardless, Lewis outdid Russell this race. And I think it was pretty cool to see him doing that. Because he's like cementing, he's trying to show that however much, the car may be bad or anything may be bad, we are number 1, improving. Number 2, I'm not out.
Yeah.
I'm not out. I'm not growing old, if so I'm to say. I'm not, my time in F1 has not come to an end. It is just the beginning. And talking is one thing, but the performance is what says whether you're tired or not. Look at Ricardo towards the end of his contract last year. He was saying one thing, saying that, I'm just trying to restructure and all, but his performances, man, crap. So I'm to put it. So Lewis did amazing. Lewis is getting better. I don't know whether these upgrades are going to help the car. I don't know whether they are going to. I think we're going to see it from this weekend at the Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona. the Spanish Grand Prix rather. So we will see what that upgrade brought to the car this weekend. Now, McLaren. There has been a trend in this Formula One grid since last year that I want to point out, and it is not looking very good in our camp. That people have seen, oh, Red Bull is working well. Oh, this is doing fine. This is working for them. So let's do this. We can't steal their ideas, but we can steal their people. Now, Aston Martin were the first people to try this. Because Aston signed a couple of Red Bull engineers prior to this season starting. And look at where they are right now. Yes, the car looks a little bit like the Red Bull, but, a person can't unsee what they've seen. It's not the same like IP, how IP rights are, IP is handled, intellectual property. It's not the same. So if I see something and I like it and I see that is what is working, then I'll try and design something closest to it. And you can't say that it's going to be it. So we are seeing this trend happening now, where a lot of teams are trying to poach our engineers, and we are either forced to make them a better offer so they don't leave, or believe that passion for the team is going to hold them within. Now, McLaren have done that, and they've done that with a very key person in our camp. The guy's called Rob Marshall. He's our chief technical officer, and we have lost him. He has been in that role since 2016, and for me, it's hey, Bana, this was a good guy. It's like losing Adrian Newey. Like, I don't know what's going to be next. Actually, the next thing if we lose Adrian is just be us tumbling down the points.
Oh, your wording is a bit exaggerated.
No, true.
You're saying you're stealing your people, and we aren't really coming into the Red Bull HQ.
That is theft.
And putting
that is daylight
Rob
theft.
on gunpoint.
That is daylight theft, man.
It was just it's time to move on, according to probably Rob's career. So it has a time to move on, to help another team achieve greatness. And also, the money must be good. If you get a better paycheck, well, why stay?
Okay. I don't have a problem with McLaren, but I have a problem with Ferrari, with how you guys effed up the previous engineers who you are trying to get from Red Bull. I don't know whether you've read, there's been news somewhere that you are thinking of, Laurent is supposed to move to AlphaTauri to become the team principal for AlphaTauri. Now, you guys also got some two engineers. You remember us talking about the two engineers from Red Bull who are supposed to move to Ferrari. But something went wrong with the deals, and something went wrong, and I don't know whether it was a contract or they just didn't want to leave, and there was that. Now, you guys are saying that if we do not release those engineers, apparently now you're making the problem ours, that if we do not release those engineers, then you guys will release Laurent earlier. In that, he's supposed to sit through this year. He'll join AlphaTauri next year. But if we don't release those two guys, you're giving us an ultimatum that if we don't release them, then, hey, you guys, what's going to happen? Laurent, you're going to remove him as quickly as possible out of the position that he already is in, and replace him with another person, of which I think is not a very good thing to do. Deals are not to be made using ultimatums. This is not Peaky Blinders.
At the end of the day, we have goals to achieve and a small time frame to achieve them.
Yeah.
So,
but why use an ultimatum? Why just not make them a better deal? If they don't want to move, why not make them a better deal? Simple.
We have to achieve results in the
Ferrari,
time frame given. There's a lot of pressure.
There's a lot of Ferrariness in you guys.
There's a lot of pressure on us. You have to understand.
Nah.
You have to you can't just keep these people. We need them. Of course, Red Bull at the moment is the benchmark. Everyone will try to design their car with respect to Red Bull's design. Look past previous years when you're talking about when Racing Point had the so-called infamous pink Mercedes that was terrorizing the
Yeah,
track.
man.
Remember
Hey,
those days?
it brought about a lot of the Sport Pesa.
Now,
Hey,
now it's Red
Sport
Bull.
Pesa racing team.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, amazing, amazing, amazing. So yeah, we had a statement from Honor, just thanking Rob for all his work, all his commitment, and yeah, he hopes that probably later on in the future they'll get to work together again. And yeah, who knows? Who knows what the future holds? Probably Red Bull will end up buying McLaren. Just saying.
Nah.
Anyway, that may not happen.
That will not happen.
Probably in a parallel universe, but not
Probably.
today. Okay, so that's that about McLaren. Yeah, this weekend we are at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Or is it Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona? I don't know. It's one of the two. But we'll be in the we'll be in Spain, rather, for the Spanish Grand Prix happening this weekend. It's one of the first proper European native Formula One tracks that we are racing in this year. So far this year, we've been everywhere. We've been in Miami, we've been in Australia, we've been in in where? Where am I forgetting? Jeddah, Bahrain. Yeah. But now we are back to the normal tracks that we're used to. So, yeah, what do we expect? What are our expectations? What do we think that from seeing and just seeing basically what has happened these first 6 sessions, what are we going to, no, 7 sessions rather, what are we going to see on the 8th session of the Formula One 2023 season?
Action. We expect the Spaniards to perform. Like
The Spaniards being Fernando and Carlos.
Yeah.
Carlito. Carlos, what does he have a nickname? He usually has a nickname. Smooth operator.
Yeah, smooth operator.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So expect the Spaniards to perform. Expect lots of action, high speeds. Really excited for that
so
one.
there's that definitely, and yeah, I know the Spanish crowd can get crazy. It's as crazy as the Japanese crowd. Though opposite, if so I'm to put it, in that the Japanese crowd, the Japanese ikigai, that principle, that discipline that they have. There is no line, but they know they're not going to cross. There's like an imaginary line, but no one decides to cross it. But they are packed to the brim. Now the Spaniards are the exact opposite, in that the track is full, the whole place is full, so many people, rowdiness. What Alonso is racing, so we are going to see even 50, 60-year-olds there. Guys who saw him when he was a kid. It's gonna be mad. Another thing that I expect to see, I think, is a better performance from Perez. Now, as you know, Perez effed up big time in this Monaco Grand Prix, where he shunt the car in the first corner during the qualifying, which put him last, literally, and he started last and ended last on the race, which was really bad. If you don't, okay, not last, rather, he ended P16. But regardless, he needs to, he cannot afford another 0 if he intends to beat Max in the championship.
Yeah, I can't afford to increase that gap.
He can't.
Can't afford.
Already, Alonso is closer. If you look at the standings, Alonso has 93 points, while Perez has 106. Now, this gap was bigger before the Monaco Grand Prix. I don't know how Perez did that mistake. And he's the king of street circuits. He's the king of the streets. The Minister of Defense, man, hatuwezi kuwa tumembandika all those names. And then he goes and does anything.
Rain is a big factor. You have to consider that.
But was it raining on the qualifying? It wasn't. When he effed up, it wasn't raining.
It wasn't raining.
It was just that there was a car here and there's another car there. He just got confused. Rear. Next thing you know, he's on the wall.
Yeah.
Half the car is destroyed. So, I hope to get to see a better performance from him this weekend. Definitely. I also believe that this is the weekend where we will see Mercedes open that gap to you guys. Sadly, I don't know. And if I'm to make a prediction, I don't think it will be more of a performance upgrade from the Mercedes, rather a strategy error from you guys.
Do you think Mercedes as a collective will outperform Ferrari this
Yes, they already
race?
are.
They
They're
already are, but this race in particular.
Yes.
You think they'll get more points than us?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, definitely yes. Those guys are more level-headed than you guys. You guys are everywhere. Even in this Monaco Grand Prix where strategies were kinda similar, it was either this or that. But then now we had signs going around, like you see now that thing people play with in the, what do I call it, in the playground, the Ferris wheel. You guys are like that, where signs comes, makes a lap, you tell him to pit, then kidogo stay out, kidogo pit. Next thing stay out, repeat, stay out. So a lot of confusion where there is certainty. You see, you expect this, you guys are doing this. You expect this, you guys are doing something so completely separate. So from me, yes. And it's not that I hate Ferrari. No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
I don't hate Ferrari.
Yeah, bait.
I hate your strategies. That's the number one person. And the way your team is governed, I really, really don't like it. Like, man, it's not really good. So hopefully you guys will get better as time progresses. But for now, you're not. It's not working out for you guys.
I think we'll outperform Mercedes this
Really?
time. Having one driver who has a home race, I think that would be enough. And Leclerc, who also is really pushing to be at the top,
Yeah.
I think we'll outperform.
What do you think about your performance as well?
The car is definitely we've gone a step behind
Yeah.
in terms of the performance of the car.
Yeah.
Strategy has always been crap, but with time, I feel like Sainz has a point to prove.
Yeah.
Because lots of talk, Italian media, lots of talk of his departure, bringing people like Lewis into the conversation.
Though that was just
That's a rumor, but as a
salt in
driver,
the
it's not
sea.
something you'd want to see, where your future isn't as certain as you might want it to
Yeah,
be.
but it can bring doubt in your head. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's going to have a point to prove. I feel that he's actually going to be in the podium.
All right.
Science.
That's a good prediction. You think it's gonna be in the actually? Let's move to the predictions, because I think it would be good to put our predictions out there as early as now, so that we know who is going to laugh at the other in the next in the next podcast.
I haven't been laughing at all.
You have not laughed, bro.
Can you imagine all these races? Red Bull has finished 1-2, 1-2, apart from Monaco.
Where we had 120.
115. But still.
115, 120, which was absolutely bad. So, as we wind up, my predictions. I think by now P1 we know. Max. Definitely. It's like written in the book. So P1 Max. P2, it's almost written in a book. But sometimes it's Alonso, it's Perez or Alonso. Actually, the podium nowadays is almost like written in a book. Because out of the 7 sessions that we have had so far, it's only 1 that we have had that's been unconventional. This Monaco. All the others has just been Vas, Alonso, Perez. Or Vas, Perez, Alonso. Either of the 2 options. Most of them being Vas.
Vas Perez or Perez Vas.
Or Perez Vas or
and
Vas
they
Perez.
leave number 3 to Alonso and the rest.
Yeah. So it's crazy. It's crazy, man. So for me, Max, P1, P2, Perez, P3, Alonso. Perez is also loved in Spain quite a bit. I don't know whether it's because he also Mexicans speak Spanish, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know whether it's because he also speaks Spanish, but he is absolutely loved in that place. So there's that. That's my prediction. My crazy prediction as well, Mercedes would outdo you guys, definitely. It's not even crazy. By now, it's normal. So, your prediction, man.
My prediction,
Yeah.
as much as I don't want it to happen, Vas at P1, because the trajectory at which this guy is going,
you'll get used to it, bro.
Vas is on another level. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
It's actually starting to irk me a bit.
Yeah.
Vas at P1. At P2, I'd go Sainz. Then P3.
Sainz?
Yes.
With Alonso being where?
P3.
Okay, and Perez?
4.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, that's why they're called predictions, because they're there to prove people wrong. So
And my
I don't.
crazy-
Nah.
My crazy prediction also:
Yeah, your crazy prediction.
a driver in the top 3 teams, that is Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes.
No, Red Bull,
No,
Aston,
achana
Aston.
na hii season.
No, Aston,
Leave this season. Now that,
Aston.
for example, now that Newcastle have finished in the top 4, are they part of the big 6? No, they're not. It's just a one season thing.
You can't then call them the top 3. You call them the big 3. The top 3 are right now Red Bull, Aston, Mercedes. Ferrari is not there.
All right.
I am loving this. Oh my god.
Then the Ferrari, one of the drivers from either Ferrari,
Yeah.
Mercedes, or Red Bull,
Yeah.
will DNF this race. That's my crazy prediction.
I don't know. I see Hamilton doing that, but it's okay. It could be Hamilton, could be anyone. So, as we close this session, we have a new part of this videocast or podcast that we've been doing, where we ask each other a question and we just test each other's knowledge. So I'll also put the question down here, down in the comments, or down if you're listening on Spotify. I'll just put it down here. You can tell us what you think the answer is. So if I may start, it's a simple question. It's a simple Formula One question. Which driver academy has been able to put out the most number of drivers in Formula One? Which driver academy has been able to put out the most drivers into Formula One?
Just drivers. Doesn't have to be the most successful ones. Just drivers.
Yes,
in
just
general.
drivers generally.
I'm going to go Ferrari. I don't know. I'm going to go Ferrari because I think it's been there for a minute.
Ferrari have not had a driver academy that long. Yeah. It's the Red Bull Driver Academy. The Red Bull Driver Academy was formed at the same time the Red Bull driving team was formed.
When was the Ferrari Academy formed?
Much
Prima.
later, 2010. Yeah, 2010, 2011. But the Red Bull Driver Academy are the ones who started that whole line of, kumbe, we can start drivers, we can sponsor drivers from when they're young all the way as they continue. So we've had absolute legends from Red Bull. We had, David Coulthard came much later, but he's part of the people who started him with our CEO, Dimitri Mateschitz. State the name right.
Mate what?
Mateschitz.
Mate what?
It's not Mateschitz.
All right. Just kidding.
Okay, yeah. So, they had that idea together that they'll have basically a driver academy or like a pipeline of ways in which they could get the drivers to Formula One without a lot of stress. And we've had the likes of Vettel, we've had Carlos, we've had Gasly, we've had Tsunoda, we've had Ricardo, we have Vas, we have like almost 10 drivers.
Albon.
We have Albon. We have who else on the grid? Lando is from the Mercedes. Lance is from Ferrari. We have very many drivers basically from that academy. So that's my question. Yours?
All right. In the Formula One world,
Yeah.
there are many. As of any industry, there's vocabulary that comes with it.
Yeah.
Different
Jargon.
words, the jargon.
Yeah.
There's this word that a fan might listen when watching, a fan might hear. This phrase called "pack farming." What does it mean and what does it entail?
Fantastic. Okay. So when a grid is considered to be in pack farming conditions, this is when the cars are all packed together. First thing, no engines are running. So there are the cars are not running. That's the first thing. Number two, people can be around the cars at that specific time. So what conditions are these? Either when the race has ended and they are parking at their grid for the people who are in the podium, kuna wale wana park P1, P2, P3. Then before the race, prior to the race starting, we also have parc ferme conditions when they are preparing the cars for the race, when they're on the grid. That's also parc ferme conditions. Another scenario of parc ferme conditions is when there's a red flag.
A red flag.
Exactly, and all of them are like stopped on the pit straight. No, yeah, pit straight.
Yeah.
When all of them are stopped on the pit straight and there's a red flag, basically that's also another set of parc ferme conditions. So for me, I don't consider it really a situation, a specific position, rather a condition where whenever the cars are not on, when the cars are not on and people are allowed to be around the cars, that condition can be called parc ferme. That is my answer. Am I right?
Yeah, mostly. But with the people being around the car,
Yeah.
engineers cannot work on the car while in parc ferme conditions.
In all those scenarios I've said, can engineers, or one they can't, or in one
work
they are.
on the car.
Yeah.
Like doing stuff, changing tires. Parc ferme condition, engineers cannot work on the car. They are
Really?
parked.
Then I have a
think so.
question. If there's a red flag and the cars are on the pit grid and they are allowed to change tires, can you call
That is
that
in
parc
parc
ferme?
ferme. Parc ferme is when they are ready to go out to track and they are lined up just at the pit straight from the exit all the way back, not necessarily in their pit stops where they change tires. When they line up just before, when they are ready to go out from a red flag.
Okay, so guys, tell us what you think parc ferme is. I'll link that question to the area below. If you're listening to it on Spotify, if you're listening to it on YouTube or wherever else, just comment down below or DM us on Instagram at the Gridstad Podcast or Twitter at the Gridstad Pod, or kama wewe ni mtu wa TikTok hivi at the Gridstad Podcast, DM us. What do you think parc ferme conditions are? Yeah, we have differed a bit there, but I think we'll get to know better what exactly that is as we get into the next podcast. Yes, so that is the end. We are wishing you guys and your teams an amazing Spanish Grand Prix happening this weekend. And yeah, may your teams win. May Max Verstappen win on my end. And yes, I am your local Max Verstappen fan, Brian Kibet.
And I am Ken, aka Ferrari Fanatic.
Yeah, cheers.
Thank
See
you
you
for
in the
watching.
next pod. Yeah.